Chapter 79. Half a month later, in the Blackfield subcity to the north of Eastern Fence Nation, Luo Qingtong wore a black robe and a cloak that covered most of her face, only revealing a devilish demon mask. She appeared on the outskirts of this city of darkness. This is the Blackfield subcity? The Blackfield was an extremely special existence within the True Spill continent. It existed in every major country, but it was also independent of them. Every country, whether it was a high-class country, a low-class country, or even a super country like the Qianhu Empire, had its own subsidy. Within the Blackfield you could do anything you wanted. You could buy anything you wanted. You could even assassinate anyone you wanted. As long as it was a transaction, as long as you could pay the price, there was nothing that the Blackfield didn't dare to do. This was a land of darkness. It was also called the Dark Sanctuary by the cultivators of the True Spill continent. Even the four holy dynasties had no way to deal with it. No one knew who the mastermind behind the Blackfield was. They only knew that his title was Dark, and that he called himself Dark Lord. Within the Blackfield he was the sole ruler and law. To be able to make the various holy dynasties helpless, and even allow such a completely independent city to appear within their own territory, this Dark Lord's strength was likely to reach the heavens and earth. And now, Luo Qingtong wanted to enter this Blackfield subcity located within the Eastern Fence Nation. She wanted to find the antidote materials that she needed. After returning from the 9 Magus Mountains without any success, she knew that if she wanted to find the antidote materials she needed, she could only do so in a place like the Blackfield that didn't fear the various holy dynasties and had tentacles that covered the entire continent. But the Blackfield wasn't so easy to enter. Shwa. Luo Qingtong's figure flew up, her sleeves fluttering in the wind. She was like a vigorous hawk as she flew towards the massive main city in front of her. Voila! Outside the Blackfield subcity, a massive moat appeared in Luo Qingtong's line of sight. This moat was filled with white bones. Some of the cultivators' corpses hadn't been completely corroded yet. They floated along with the waves of the moat. Countless weapons and treasures floated in the moat, but no one dared to go down and pick them up. This moat was also known as the Yellow Spring Path. As long as one fell into it, even a martial king-level powerhouse would be corroded in a second, turning into one of the skeletons. It was said that the Blackfield subcity had countless cities. The power of the moat was closely related to the country. This was a black domain city of the Eastern Fence Nation. The moat surrounding the city was only strong enough to corrode martial kings. This showed how terrifying Blackfield's strength was. In order to enter the Blackfield, one must have the strength to pass through the Yellow Springs Path. At this moment, there were only bare chains on the Yellow Springs Path. There was nothing on the chain that one could lean on. When the wind blew, the chains swung violently and clanged against each other from time to time. When Luo Qingtong reached the shore, she heard a series of miserable screams. Someone was unable to stabilize himself and fell into the Yellow Spring. In an instant he was submerged by the corrosive river water. To pass through the Yellow Springs Path one had to rely on strength, luck and vision. The bloody light in Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed. She swept a glance at Huang Quandao and was about to get up. Chapter 80. Rumble. A huge gust of wind swept over Luo Qingtong's head from behind. At the same time, a series of exclamations followed. A flying ship. Wow, it's so big. I wonder what grade of magic treasure it is. It's so powerful. Exclamations entered her ears. Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and looked up at the sky. She saw a huge, gorgeous spirit ship sweeping over her head. As the spirit ship flew, it swept up huge waves and each gust of wind had a great impact. The people waiting on the shore to cross the Yellow Spring Path were all pushed away by the huge spirit ship's waves. Only Luo Qingtong stood motionless on the spot. Her figure swayed slightly, and the gust of wind that rushed towards her was all neutralized by her. The spirit ship stirred up huge waves as it swept over the Yellow Spring Path and directly entered the Blackfield city ahead. When the spirit ship approached, the huge city in the darkness completely opened the city gates and welcomed it in. Sigh. It's so good to have a Blackfield token. An envious voice came from the side. That's right. Look at the grade of this spirit ship, it's at least an Earth-grade spiritual weapon. Even a martial Grand Emperor expert might not be able to have it. I wonder what kind of person is sitting in it. Sigh. It's so good to have power. Let's go. Let's also enter the Blackfield and have a good adventure. It's said that the people in the Blackfield don't care about your background, as long as you have the corresponding power, they will not hesitate to take you in. Hearing the conversation around her, Luo Qingtong realized that there was such a thing as a Blackfield token in the Blackfield city. With a Blackfield token, one could directly enter the Blackfield city without going through the Yellow Spring Path outside? No wonder the people in the spirit ship didn't need to go through the Yellow Spring Path. In that case, this Blackfield token was really a good thing. With it, it wouldn't be so troublesome to enter and exit the Blackfield in the future. That spirit boat was not bad either. He wondered where he had bought it. Luo Qingtong knew that this kind of spirit boat was specially used to transport troops from various countries. At the same time, it was also the exclusive vehicle for the nobles and experts of various countries. It looked really cool. In Luo Qingtong's previous life, everything was the best in the 24th century. She didn't even know how many luxurious cars she owned. At this moment, looking at the spirit boat, her heart itched again. If there's a chance, I'll get one. This way it would be much more convenient to travel. However, this kind of aerial spirit boat was generally forbidden in the military. If one wanted to own it, strength alone was not enough. They also needed to have a certain status. Otherwise, the various countries will not allow you to pass through. In fact, I won't even let you buy it. He wondered if the Blackfield medallion had such a privilege. If there was, Luo Qingtong would definitely get her hands on one. Whoosh! Her figure swept forward. After the spirit boat passed through, she directly rushed towards the moat in front of her. With a few leaps, under the guidance of her eyes, she easily passed through the chains that even Martial King experts had to be on guard. She was not affected by the wind and waves of the river after the spirit boat passed through. Looking at her figure, waves of exclamations sounded behind her again. Isn't this black-robed person too powerful? She passed through the Yellow Spring Path so easily? When did the Yellow Spring Path outside the Blackfield city become so easy to pass through? Could it be the benefit of passing through the spirit boat? Some people thought so and also rushed up. However, halfway through they screamed and fell down. At this moment, they finally understood that it wasn't that the Yellow Spring Path had become easy to pass, but that Luo Qingtong was too powerful. Looking at Luo Qingtong's movements, no one would have thought that she was only a martial master. Furthermore, she had just broken through. Chapter 81. Senior brother teacher is really amazing. This spirit boat really travels thousands of miles in a day. We came from the Lifeng country in the west and arrived at the Blackfield subcity of the Eastern Fence country in just a few hours. And we don't need to go through the Yellow Spring Path. Those people from the Blackfield even saluted us. No matter which Blackfield city we went to, the people there were very arrogant. This Blackfield token is really useful. Senior brother, teacher is really good to you. A group of people got off the spirit boat and walked into the city while talking and laughing, looking very excited. This group of people were the new students of the Sacred Academy who came out with Yuanma to do things. Hearing their praise and envy, Yuanma felt good in his heart, but on the surface he smiled faintly. When all of you junior brothers become stronger, teacher will also think highly of you. Yuanma's words were very appropriate, and everyone felt very comfortable in their hearts. They smiled and complimented each other. By then, senior brother will definitely be even more powerful. Not everyone can be accepted as teacher's last disciple after entering the Sacred Academy. Yes, we are definitely not as good as senior brother. But speaking of which, this Blackfield token is really rare. I heard that teacher only coincidentally helped the people of the Blackfield to get this lowest level Blackfield token of the Blackfield by chance. If it's a higher level silver or gold Blackfield token, you will have even greater authority in the Blackfield city. Yes. I heard that if it's a platinum Blackfield token, you can freely mobilize the power of any Blackfield city other than the Blackfield main city. Not only that, you can go to any Blackfield city in the future and be given a grand welcome. Even the city lord will have to personally welcome you. As the group was talking, they suddenly heard a loud rumbling sound outside. Then, above the entire Blackfield city, the forbidden sky barrier opened and the main city flew up. At the same time, the aura of countless powerhouses flew up from every corner of the Blackfield city. Among them there were both martial artists and soul masters. What was different about them was that they were all wearing clothes that only Blackfield residents would wear, and their bodies were decorated with the Blackfield's totem. The aura of the person at the front was completely different from the others. Astonishingly, it was much higher. This is Blackfield's Castellan? Countless people were alarmed by this commotion. When they looked up and saw this scene in the sky, their eyes instantly widened. It was actually the Blackfield city lord himself. Move out of the city? Could it be that the owner of the legendary platinum token had come to visit? No, that's not right. Someone pointed at the slowly opening gates around the main city in shock. Open all 9 gates. Was Mingzun. The supreme of the Blackfield is here. While everyone was still in shock, an extremely beautiful spirit boat suddenly appeared in the sky. Previously, Xuanhuan and the others had also arrived on a spirit boat, causing everyone to exclaim in surprise. However, at this moment, even the most blind person had to admit that compared to this spirit boat, Xuanhuan and the other spirit boat was a pile of scrap metal. It was a good thing that they had already parked their spirit boats. Otherwise, they would have been completely crushed by this gorgeous spirit boat that was both elegant and murderous, sharp and magnificent. As that spirit boat appeared, the entire Blackfield subcity was in an uproar. Chapter 82. In the spiritual boat, Bei Qing's face twitched when he felt the burning gaze from below almost penetrating the boat and stripping them naked. "Master, I didn't do it on purpose." He looked at the man sitting on the throne in the middle of the spiritual boat with a sad face. He didn't know how he had touched the light switch. Xianxia looked at him coldly. Then he flicked his sleeves and flew out of the flying boat. "Go to the heavenly punishment court to receive your punishment when you return." "Yes, master." "Master." Bei Qing hurriedly responded and followed him. A group of people flew out of the flying boat. As for the huge, luxurious flying boat, it also disappeared in an instant. Sumeru Space. That flying boat actually carried the legendary Sumeru Space. No wonder he is Ming Zun. What a big deal. It is said that only the royal family of the sacred dynasty has such a treasure inheritance with Sumeru Space. Ming Zun has it too. And it is a spiritual flying boat. Ming Zun is probably the only person in the world who has such a peerless flying boat with Sumeru Space. Luo Qingtong heard the exclamations around her and looked up at the sky. Unfortunately, Ming Zun's figure flashed in the air and disappeared without a trace. Everyone stared with their eyes wide open. They could only see a few rays of light. They couldn't even see what the person on the flying boat looked like, whether he was round or flat. Luo Qingtong opened her eyes and could only see 3 figures. A silver-clothed figure with black hair flashed in front of her. In an instant, it disappeared from her field of vision. The other 2 figures, one in green and one in blue, were on his left and right. They should be Ming Zun's guards. The people in this world were really perverted. Luo Qingtong looked on gloomily as they disappeared from her sight. She tried her best to see the face of Ming Zun, but just like the man from Nine Magi Mountain, she could only see a blurry silhouette. Were all powerful people like this? Did they like to pretend to be mysterious? It was fine if they were ugly, but the man from Nine Magi Mountain was so handsome, but he wanted to hide it. Beauty should be shown in front of people to benefit society. Just as Luo Qingtong was thinking about this, she suddenly felt a sharp gaze coming from the sky. It was in the direction where Underworld Zun had disappeared. Her heart suddenly tightened and she quickly lowered her head. That gaze swept across her surroundings and then retracted in an instant. Xianxia was full of doubts. He had clearly felt that someone was spying on him, but when he looked carefully there was nothing. Was it his imagination? But why did it feel so similar to that woman? Could it be that she was also in this Blackfield subcity? If that was the case, then it wouldn't have been a waste of time for him to come here personally. Shua. The figures of Xianxia and the others completely disappeared from the sky. The experts in the Blackfield subcity also descended from the sky. Luo Qingtong patted her chest. "Oh my god, I was almost discovered." Other than that man from Nine Magi Mountain, this was the second person that Luo Qingtong couldn't see through. Should she say that he was indeed worthy of being called the Supreme of the Blackfield? That man from Nine Magi Mountain was the strongest man that Luo Qingtong had ever seen. More than half of his meridians were broken, but he was still able to beat the adult divine connecting beast to the point that it couldn't even retaliate. This Ming Zun was actually on par with him. No wonder the people from the 4 great sacred dynasties were helpless against him, and he was able to establish such a huge dark force like the Black Field. Luo Qingtong patted her chest as she continued to walk into the city. In the Blackfield subcity headquarters, in the city lord's residence, Xianxia landed and looked at the city lord standing respectfully at the side. Chapter 83. My lord, I've searched through hundreds of high-class countries and thousands of middle-class countries around Dongli country, but I didn't find the woman you're talking about, the governor of the Blackfield subcity hurriedly replied when he heard Xianxia's question. You didn't find her? Xianxia narrowed his eyes. The hazy mist covering his face instantly dispersed, revealing a face wrapped in a dark golden mask. The mask covered most of his face, leaving only a little bit of his smooth chin and a pair of thin lips. Under the mask, Xianxia's eyes turned cold. You've checked everything? My lord, we've checked everything. What about the Tianyu Empire? You didn't find her either? The Tianyu Empire hasn't sent any news yet, but according to their feedback they shouldn't have found her either. Then let's investigate further. Expand the scope. I must find her. Yi Qianxian's voice was cold. He had personally come to this place for Luo Qingtong. He didn't expect that he couldn't find that woman even with the Blackfield's intelligence network. Who exactly was she? Also, filter through all the information of those who entered Dongli country before and after the mutation on the Nine Magi Mountain. He didn't believe that he couldn't find that woman. Yes. The governor of the Blackfield subcity looked bitter. No matter how low-class Dongli country was, it was still a country. There were more than tens of thousands of people entering and exiting the country every day. Not to mention how many people entered and exited the Nine Magi Mountain before and after the mutation. He thought about how much work he had to do just to find a woman whose name and appearance he didn't even know. He only knew that she was blind but could see. Her cultivation level was low but she was very strong. She might even be a blacksmith or a spiritual array master. The governor of the Blackfield subcity felt that this wasn't very reliable. My lord, didn't you notice that there were many contradictions in this information? How could someone be blind and still be able to see? Her cultivation level was low but she was very strong. She might even be a spiritual array master. The city lord of the Blackfield city went out with a bitter face. When Bei Qing and Feng Yu saw this, they looked at Yi Qianxian and asked, "Master, you haven't found him yet?" No. Yi Qianxian frowned. With that woman's ability, he thought it would be easy to find her. She didn't expect that there was no news of her in the high-ranking countries. Could it be that he was wrong? She might not be from the Empire of Qin? Were they from other sacred dynasties? Let's look for her again. The woman you mentioned is so weak. She might have been buried in a high-class country or above. Or perhaps, it was deliberately hidden by someone. Master, didn't you say that someone poisoned her with poison? That was not a poison that an ordinary person could get their hands on. Her news might have been intentionally covered up by someone. Feng Yu analyzed. Yes. Master, let's keep looking. We will definitely find her. But Master, do you really feel that your meridians are getting better? Bei Qing asked. She couldn't believe it. They were also very worried about their master's internal injuries. However, they couldn't do anything about it since they were born with it. All these years, they had been trying their best to find a way to cure their master's injuries. It was the same when their master went to the Nine Magi Mountain alone in Dongli country. However, they did not expect that the information they had painstakingly gathered was completely useless. A young girl that their master had met by chance had actually alleviated the injuries in his body. Chapter 84. It's indeed better, although it's not obvious. But, it's definitely better. Yi Qianren was sitting on the main seat in the hall. She raised her hand and rubbed the armrest. Suddenly, she released the aura she had been restraining. Boom. Feng Yu and Bei Qing were forced to take a few steps back by the aura released by Yi Qianxian. This? The two of them were shocked. Feng Yu's eyes lit up and she exclaimed, "Master, the aura you're releasing. It's much stronger than before, right? Am I right?" Yi Qianren narrowed her eyes at them. After my main meridians were repaired, my body's ability to withstand power has increased. If it was before, my meridians would have been broken by now. Yi Qianxian's voice was calm as he looked into the distance. Not only that, my meridians haven't been injured for the past half a month. Although I don't know how long they can last, there's no doubt that they're longer than before. Master, don't worry. We'll definitely find her. Even if we have to kidnap her, we'll kidnap her and bring her to you. Bei Qing couldn't hold herself back anymore. It's not just a little bit better. It's much better than before. Others might not know, but they who served their master knew that the interval between their master's meridians breaking was getting shorter and shorter. His meridian's ability to withstand power was also getting weaker and weaker. Their master hadn't used his full strength in a long time. They were more anxious than anyone else as they watched their master's body getting weaker and weaker day by day. Now that there was someone who could repair their master's meridians and improve his condition, they had to find this person even if they had to dig 3 feet into the ground. Yi Qianxian replied in a low voice. Then he thought of Luo Qingtong's crafty and evil character and paused for a moment. Then he ordered, "This woman is as cunning as a fox. You may not be able to deal with her. Once you find her, just inform me." Yi Qianxian felt uncomfortable when he thought of how Luo Qingtong might deal with Bei Qing and Feng Yu the same way she dealt with him. Pass down this order. After finding her, no one is allowed to touch her. That woman, I will personally capture her. Yes. Although they didn't think that Luo Qingtong, a mere martial mentor, could pose any threat to them. Even if she was 100 times stronger, she might not be a match for them. However, Bei Qing and Feng Yu naturally complied with their master's order. Thinking about it, it was indeed more convenient for the master to make a move. What if the subordinates were careless and killed someone? Bei Qing thought carelessly. Feng Yu, on the other hand, seemed to have understood something as he looked at his master with a subtle gaze. He thought of the bite mark on his master's lips. Master, he couldn't be tempted, right? Just like Bei Qing, Feng Yu didn't believe that someone could escape from her master's clutches again and still dare to do such a disgraceful thing. It couldn't be that master, he deliberately condoned it, right? The more she thought about it, the more complicated her mood became. He didn't know that his master had such an interest. Yi Qianxian didn't know what his subordinates were thinking at all. He got another secret prescription this time, but he didn't know whether it was useful for his injury. Fortunately, his meridians were stronger now, so he could give it a try. By the way, he was waiting for news from the branch city of the Tianyu Empire. Chapter 85. This auction house was the most bustling and lively place in the Black Field. The moment Luo Qingtong entered, she was eagerly received. "Hello, guest, may I know what you need?" The auction house's staff warmly welcomed her. In the spacious hall, there were over 100 staff like this. "I want to sell medicine." Luo Qingtong's voice had undergone a special voice change. Her low and hoarse voice revealed the unique vicissitudes of life. Her exposed hands had also been specially modified. On her loose skin, the veins were exposed, revealing a kind of twilight old age. Luo Qingtong did not intend to reveal her identity when she came to the Black Field this time. Therefore, she purposely created a mysterious old man. In this way, others would not doubt her ability and the Mingzun behind the scenes would not be able to find out her true identity. Luo Qingtong was fully aware of how coveted her eye technique was. She would not easily reveal her true identity in front of others. And that Mingzun's strength was so valiant and powerful. She had to guard against him. Sell medicine? When the staff heard this, he did not dare to be negligent. "I wonder what medicine old Mr. wants to sell. Is it medicinal herbs or medicinal liquid? Ask your manager to come over. You can't make the decision." Luo Qingtong's voice was faint. That faint voice, after being modified by her hoarse voice, instantly raised her image infinitely. Immediately, the waiter treated her as a hidden expert and invited her to a private room. "Old Mister, please wait a moment. I will immediately ask the manager to come over." That staff said as he ran out like a wisp of smoke. When he was about to leave, he almost stumbled and fell. Medicinal liquid. This old man was here to sell medicinal liquid. Who knows, he might be a respected alchemist. Although he did not see the alchemist badge of the other party, but generally, this kind of alchemist was eccentric and arrogant. It was normal for him to not like to show his alchemist badge in front of others. Thinking of this, the worker ran even faster. After a while, a steward pushed open the door to Luo Qingtong's private room. "I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, sir." The steward's tone was very respectful and courteous. "May I know what kind of medicinal liquid you're selling?" "Right. Xuanhuan heart fluid." Luo Qingtong's voice was faint. The medicinal liquid she was selling was extracted from the holy healing spring that Yi Qianxian had been soaking in. Although Lu Qingtong couldn't find a suitable substitute for most of the herbs, she still managed to refine the corresponding medicinal liquid according to the medicinal properties of a small portion of the herbs and her own concoction. Although the effect was definitely not as good as the man's healing liquid, it was enough for Luo Qingtong. She didn't know what the grade of this medicinal liquid was. Luo Qingtong didn't know much about this different world's alchemist profession. After all, the original owner didn't have these memories in her mind. She could only rely on herself to slowly explore. The effect of this medicinal liquid is on meridian injuries. As long as it's a meridian injury, no matter how serious it is, as long as it's taken, it will immediately heal. It can be used to counteract the backlash of using a forbidden technique. After taking it, it's equivalent to having an extra life. Even in a situation where the strength is similar, it can kill the enemy. Chapter 86. Black Origin Heart Medicinal Liquid. It was actually a medicinal liquid used to treat meridian injuries. And from the other party's words, this medicinal liquid's grade was not low. One had to know that medicinal liquids used to treat meridian injuries were very rare. Meridians were related to a cultivator's cultivation. Once the meridians were damaged, the cultivator's strength would be greatly reduced. What's more, the cultivator's realm would continuously drop, becoming a cripple. Especially when using forbidden techniques, Although it could increase one's strength by 1-fold or even more than 10 times in a short period of time, the backlash after using it was extremely serious. An overly strong burst of power would tear the cultivator's meridians. How many people had used forbidden techniques in desperate situations, and their strength had been greatly reduced? And with Luo Qingtong's medicinal liquid, what were they afraid of? This was not just a life. This was an excellent trump card. With it, cultivators could even challenge those of a higher cultivation level at will, without fear of any repercussions. This portion of medicinal liquid was simply too precious. The steward did not dare to make a decision and hurriedly reported the matter to the head steward. Oh, a medicinal liquid specially used to treat meridian injuries? When the head steward heard this, he immediately put down the matter at hand and hurried over. At the same time, there was also an earth stage alchemist from the black market auction house. These alchemists were the standard of the Blackfield auction house. This was also the reason why people flocked to the Blackfield like a flock of ducks. The status of an earth stage alchemist was very honorable. Even in the main cities of the 4 great sacred dynasties, they were the target of countless people's pursuit. But in the Blackfield, every Blackfield auction house had such an earth stage alchemist overseeing it. While identifying medicinal liquids, they also provided alchemy services for the people in the Blackfield auction house. In the whole world, only the Blackfield had such a big hand. Even the 4 great sacred dynasties could not compare. The earth stage alchemist from the Blackfield auction house had a very arrogant expression. He didn't believe that a small and remote country like Eastern Fence Country would have such a powerful figure coming to sell medicinal liquid. Even if the other party's medicinal liquid really had the effect of healing meridian injuries, he was afraid that it was only a low-level human-level medicinal liquid. At most, it could only benefit low-level cultivators below the martial king level. There was no need for him to do anything. However, according to the Blackfield's rules, as long as there was an effective and precious liquid for sale, they had to sell it. That earth-tier alchemist was unable to disobey the Blackfield's rules and could only come forward with a cold face and the chief steward. "You're the one who wants to sell the medicinal liquid? Hand it over." His face was filled with impatience. This earth-tier alchemist had just received an order from above to refine medicine for the High Lord. This was a rare opportunity to make a great leap forward, so he didn't want to bother with other miscellaneous matters. Towards Luo Qingtong, who interrupted her refining, she also didn't have the slightest good face. "Stop acting all mysterious." Looking at Luo Qingtong's attire, he raised his hand and took the liquid. With a sneer, he began to identify the liquid. However, as soon as he opened the bottle, his expression suddenly changed. This was an earth-tier medicinal liquid? A strong medicinal power instantly spread out in front of him. The earth-tier alchemist's hands trembled fiercely, and he almost dropped the bottle in his hands. He hurriedly grabbed it and carefully used his mental power to identify the medicinal power within. The more he identified it, the more his hands trembled. This was not an ordinary earth-tier medicinal liquid. It was a top-grade earth-tier medicinal liquid. No, it was a quasi-heaven-tier medicinal liquid. Heavens. Chapter 87. As an earth-rank alchemist, Master Lu did not expect that there was actually someone who could achieve perfect separation when refining medicinal liquids. Inside this set of medicinal liquid, there was actually no impurities at all. This already completely exceeded his imagination. This set of medicinal liquid already surpassed the level of earth-rank medicinal liquids, reaching the level of quasi-heaven rank. Although its essence was still an earth-rank medicinal liquid, the medicinal strength and effects in reality completely surpassed this level. It was sufficient to compare with ordinary heaven-rank medicinal liquids. Such a medicinal liquid, even heavenly alchemists who were highly revered by the world and revered by them, these alchemists, might not be able to refine it too. This must be a transcendent grade medicinal liquid that the alchemist himself could only possibly refine under a lucky coincidence, his spirit entering heaven and earth, entering a kind of profound realm. Bang, bang, bang. Master Lu's hand held the porcelain bottle, his heart beating rapidly. He could tell that the person who refined this medicinal liquid was not a true alchemist. Because in this medicinal liquid, many refining methods that alchemists should have grasped, the other party did not use them. But the other party was abnormally proficient and exquisite regarding the extraction and refinement of the medicinal liquid. This kind of exquisiteness even surpassed the level of heavenly alchemists that he had seen before, reaching a kind of realm that people found hard to imagine. This was a figure with unusual talent, a self-taught genius. Master Lu guessed that the other party's alchemy level was not high. It was just that under a lucky coincidence he successfully refined this bottle of medicinal liquid. In the alchemist circle, there was a legend called Extreme Realm circulating. It was said that when alchemists were fully focused and their spirit entered heaven and earth, they would obtain the blessing of heaven and earth destiny. At that time, alchemists refining medicine was akin to having divine assistance. They could easily refine transcendent-grade medicinal liquids and medicinal pills that surpassed their own grade. Under this kind of situation, if alchemists could advance, they could instantly directly raise their own alchemy level to the peak of the next level. But this kind of realm could be encountered by chance and not sought. They had only heard before and had never witnessed it before. Could it be that this old man entered that kind of extreme realm state under such a lucky coincidence, and that was how he was able to refine such a medicinal liquid? Thinking, Master Lu's heart suddenly pounded rapidly. If this was the case, this bottle of transcendent-grade medicinal liquid, he might be able to take it for himself? Master Lu knew the preciousness of transcendent-grade medicinal liquids. Such a bottle of transcendent-grade medicinal liquid, even a heavenly alchemist might not be able to refine it. More importantly, this bottle of medicinal liquid was used to treat meridian injuries. He thought of the prescription that the High Lord had asked him to refine. It was also used to treat meridian injuries. If he could present this bottle of supreme-grade medicinal liquid to the Honorable Lord, he would be able to enjoy endless benefits in the future. Thinking of this, Master Lu's heart beat even faster. He clenched the porcelain bottle in his hand and instantly made a decision in his heart. The grade of this medicinal liquid seems to be pretty good. Earth rank high level. When he said that, he specially looked at Luo Qingtong's expression. Seeing that she did not have any reaction to the grade he mentioned, he was instantly even more certain of his guess. This person was indeed able to refine this bottle of medicinal liquid by chance. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so clueless about the grade of this medicinal liquid. As he thought about it, he was pleasantly surprised and couldn't wait any longer. However, as for what kind of medicinal effect it is, I still need to examine it carefully. You guys wait here for a while. As Master Lu spoke, he took the bottle of medicinal liquid and walked out. Chapter 88. Master Lu came back very quickly. After a short while, he took the medicinal liquid and returned to the private room. Guest, here's your medicinal liquid. He handed the porcelain bottle in his hand to Luo Qingtong. As soon as the porcelain bottle was in her hand, Luo Qingtong's eyebrows rose. I'm very sorry, guest. The medicinal effect that you said is different from the actual effect. This bottle of medicinal liquid is indeed a high-grade earth-step medicinal liquid. It also has a certain healing effect on the meridians, but it's not as heaven-defying as you said. It also doesn't have much effect on the counterattack of the forbidden technique. It can only have a certain moderating and prolonging effect. Master Lu looked at Luo Qingtong with a face full of regret. I don't know where guest got this medicinal liquid formula, but it's a pity that you should have been cheated. However, this bottle of earth-step medicinal liquid is also very valuable. It's up to you to decide how to choose. Luo Qingtong looked at him with a smile that wasn't a smile. You're saying that I've been cheated? The medicinal liquid that I brought doesn't match the actual effect that I said? Yes. Master Lu said seriously, my appraisal can't be wrong. If guest doesn't believe me, you can find another pharmacist to appraise it. However, I dare to guarantee that the result will absolutely not be any different. Of course, there wouldn't be any difference because the medicinal liquid inside had already been replaced by him. Luo Qingtong didn't need to open the porcelain bottle to know that the medicinal liquid inside had completely changed. The medicinal liquid that she refined was replaced by another person. What appeared in the porcelain bottle was another high-grade earth-step medicinal liquid. It was the medicinal liquid that this earth-step pharmacist was talking about. Interesting. Someone actually dared to covet her things. Luo Qingtong's face slowly blossomed into a smile. It was blocked by the sinister Rakshasa ghost mask on her face. No one could see the bloodthirsty beauty within. The demonic charm was like a poppy that moved people's hearts and souls. Since it's like this, then I don't want this medicinal liquid. Is this trash worthy to be given to me? Her words had a double meaning. Master Lu's expression slightly changed as she confidently threw away the porcelain bottle in her hand. I'll give it to your Blackfield auction house. I only hope that you can hold it firmly. Sell it for a good price. After all, it was bought with her life. Was it so easy to take her things? Luo Qingtong glanced at Master Lu's hands, the smile on her lips even more wanton. She threw away the bottle of medicinal liquid and directly out of the Blackfield auction house. The manager looked at the side. He vaguely felt that something was wrong. He picked up the bottle of liquid that Luo Qingtong had thrown down and looked at Master Lu with a frown. Master Lu, what's going on? Is this customer's medicinal liquid really inconsistent with the actual effect? At the end of his words, there was a hint of sternness in his voice. To be able to become the chief steward of an auction house, which one of them wasn't a shrewd person. Luo Qingtong's sudden performance made him suspicious. However, he found it hard to believe. Being looked at with suspicion, Master Lu's heart was also very angry. He originally thought that Luo Qingtong would swallow this loss in silence, or find him to make trouble. He had ways to deal with both of these. He didn't expect the other party's actions to be so unexpected. She actually threw away her own medicinal liquid and called it trash. How do I know what's going on? What do you mean by questioning me like this? Are you suspecting me? He sneered. I'm a dignified earth-step pharmacist. Do I need to covet her medicinal liquid? Ridiculous. Chapter 89. After Luo Qingtong left the auction house, she went straight to the northwest of the Blackfield subcity. Just now at the auction house she could have exposed the fact that the other party had swapped her medicine. But was that necessary? In the end, the other party was from the auction house. Luo Qingtong didn't expect the people from the auction house to be fair and just. Who knew if the steward had colluded with the other party? Luo Qingtong still liked to solve problems in her own way. Putting your hopes on others was the most stupid thing. If she had done this in the 24th century, she wouldn't know how many times she would have been betrayed. Thinking of the past, Luo Qingtong's smile became more enchanting and wanton. In this world she didn't trust anyone. She only believed in herself. Without the auction house as a channel, she could still spread the name of her evil Dr. Ghost Eye. And it would spread faster than cooperating with the auction house. Louder. As for Master Lu, Luo Qingtong just smiled and didn't say anything. Blackfield subcity, bloody arena. This was a killing paradise. This was a bloodthirsty hell. Here there was the excitement and blood that people needed. All of the negative emotions of human beings were released to the fullest. Kill. 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 Luo Qingtong had just walked into the arena when she heard a wild roar filled with boundless murderous intent. It rushed out from inside like an avalanche. The moment the vermilion door opened, the earth-shattering screams from inside almost overturned the dome of the arena. Every city in the Black region had a bloody arena, allowing the people who entered to vent their anger and killing intent. In this arena, people could enter voluntarily, or they could put the slaves they bought into it and fight to the death to win the money that others bet. That's right, this was not only the biggest fighting arena, but it was also a huge casino. But other casinos bet on cards, here they bet on life and death. As soon as Luo Qingtong entered, she was surrounded by maids wearing revealing clothes. Sir, which table would you like to bet on? A charming, tall and half-exposed maid leaned towards Luo Qingtong with a seductive look on her face. From the 1st to the 9th tables, there must be something you like. At this point she suddenly screamed. Luo Qingtong's expression was indifferent as she let go of her hand that was reaching for her lapel and wanted to touch her chest. I don't like other people touching me, she said in a low and hoarse voice and directly threw him away. Get someone who knows the rules. Yes. Yes. The maid covered her broken wrist and another maid took her place. Because of Luo Qingtong's ruthlessness, the maid's actions were very well behaved. She didn't dare to rub against Luo Qingtong's body. Dear customer, what kind of betting method do you prefer? I want the most exciting one. Luo Qingtong looked in the direction of the 9th platform. Then I'll choose that. The battle on the 9th platform was the most tragic. Thus, all the people that entered this combat arena were heavily injured. The more serious the injury, the more generous the reward after the battle. In this kind of situation, in order to survive, in order to win, the battle here was much more tragic and bloody than the other places. When Luo Qingtong looked over, the battle on the platform had already reached its end, and the outcome was about to be decided. An incomparably tall and sturdy man was pressed down by a thin and small man. Although he struggled with all his might, he couldn't break free. The thin and small man's strength was not stronger than the tall and sturdy man. In fact, he was much weaker than the tall and sturdy man. But the tall and sturdy man's injuries were too serious. All the meridians in his body were torn, and there was a big hole in his abdomen. His left and right arms were almost cut off. Even his legs, which were the only things he could move, were now bleeding profusely. Chapter 90. Mother? Mother? Luo Qingtong heard his lips moving slightly, constantly calling out to something in a low voice. That pair of eyes looked slack, then focused again, then slack, then focused again. It was as if there was some obsession supporting him, making him unwilling to die just like that. Tiske. This fool on the stage is really struggling to the point that people can't bear to look at him. That's right. We've been through blood and blood, who hasn't seen life and death. But this idiot looked so King scary that people couldn't bring themselves to do it. But no matter what, he's dead for sure this time. Who told him to be so stubborn that he didn't listen to anyone's advice? He's already injured like that, he might not even be able to survive even if he lies down and doesn't move, yet he still wants to fight. Look at him now. He's giving away his life and money for nothing. No one in the entire arena bet on him to win. What's the use of him fighting like this? His mother is already dead, there's no saving him. The silly boy. That's right, that skinny little guy is also sinister, deliberately using these words to provoke him. He wants to take his life with serious injuries and fight for a bright future. We can be considered as not being righteous. But we're not that wicked. This time this blockhead is dead for sure. Faint sighs could be heard from all around. The atmosphere on the 9th arena wasn't as wild and bloodthirsty as the other arenas, and it was even somewhat solemn. Dead for sure? Luo Qingtong listened to these people's words, raised her eyebrows slightly, and raised her hand to point at the stage. Alright, it's him. I bet on him to win 100,000 gold. What? That maid was just about to record down Luo Qingtong's bet when she heard this, and instantly thought that she had misheard. Guessed, what did you say? I said I bet on him to win, it's that blockhead. 100,000 gold. Luo Qingtong's voice was faint. You've recorded it? Record? Record it. But guessed he's about to die. That maid couldn't help but say after recording down Luo Qingtong's bet. 100,000 gold on a person about to die to win. Did this guest have too much money to burn? The maid couldn't figure it out. He won't die. The moment the maid finished speaking, Luo Qingtong's figure shot out. With her around, how could the other party die? As long as he didn't want to die, even if he was at the gates of hell, she would pull him back. Once someone was in her hands, unless she didn't want to save them, unless the other party wanted to die, she would definitely be able to save them. Shua. Luo Qingtong landed beside the arena. Do you want to live? Her voice entered the ears of the tall and strong man. A trace of doubt appeared on the latter's face, then he nodded vigorously. Yes. His voice was loud and clear, attracting everyone's attention. They didn't know what this blockhead was up to. But no matter what he did, he was dead for sure this time. If you want it, then kill him. I'll save you. As Luo Qingtong spoke, a stream of energy instantly shot out from her fingertips and hit the Baihui acupoint on the top of the blockhead's head. With a boom, the tall and strong man only felt the blood in his body boiling. Roar. He let out a roar that sounded like both a man and a beast. In the next second, his figure suddenly exploded, and in an instant he threw off the thin and small man on top of him. Ka. The blockhead flew up, caught up with the thin and small man's figure, and viciously twisted his head off. Bang. Chapter 91. Peng Peng Peng. When he fell down, the tall and strong man's body exploded into a mist of blood. In an instant, the man's body no longer had a trace of a human. Everyone in the stands looked at this scene in shock. Forbidden technique. This blockhead is purely looking for death. With such a serious injury, he still dares to use a forbidden technique to forcibly stimulate his strength? Even a person who is unharmed may not be able to withstand the backlash of using a forbidden technique. Is he crazy? Exclamations came one after another. Everyone in the stands was dumbfounded. Everyone thought that the blockhead would lose, but they didn't expect that he still had the strength to use a forbidden technique to kill his opponent. He won. Luo Qingtong looked at the maid behind her who was responsible for recording the bet, raised her eyebrows and said, "Tell your manager to prepare the money." In the entire bloody arena, only Luo Qingtong bet on the blockhead to win. The odds were so high that it was enough to shock people. It broke the record of the bloody arena for so many years. Luo Qingtong's 100,000 gold instantly increased by more than 100 times. No guessed. The maid was also stunned by the result of the reversal on the stage. Who would have thought that Luo Qingtong just bet on the blockhead to win, and the latter really killed his opponent? But this wasn't enough. She came back to her senses and explained to Luo Qingtong, "Customer, in order for him to win, he must be able to survive. If both sides perish together, the winner would be the Zhuang family. Is dead." Before these 3 words could be said, Luo Qingtong's figure had already landed on the stage in front of her. I said he won't die. Luo Qingtong's voice faintly floated from the front. The maid stared at her as she took out a bottle of liquid medicine from her bosom and fed it to the blockhead on the stage. Then she raised her hand and poked him a few times. They watched as Luo Qingtong lowered her head and whispered something in the blockhead's ear. Then, the tall and strong man who was obviously on his last breath and could go see the king of hell at any time stood up shakily. He stood up. *CK. With such a serious injury he still forcibly used a forbidden technique. Under such a backlash, it was already God's mercy that he didn't die. That blockhead could still stand up? Everyone was shocked. The whole area around the 9th arena was silent. This kind of silence seemed to be contagious as it spread in all directions. When the people on the other arenas found that the people on their side of the stands were not watching their fight, but watching the 9th arena, the entire bloody arena was immersed in a very strange atmosphere. Everyone looked as if they had seen a ghost as they stared at the blockhead who had crawled up from the ground. The other party's movements were so clean and efficient. The big hole in his abdomen was still there, but there was no more bleeding. What the hell is going on? What did the black-robed man say to that blockhead? It had such an effect. Could it be some kind of resurrection incantation? Some people couldn't help but think. Even more people shifted their burning gazes to the porcelain bottle in Luo Qingtong's hand. Obviously, it was that bottle of medicinal liquid that allowed that big blockhead to live. What level of liquid medicine was that to be able to resurrect the dead? Chapter 92. Being stared at by countless people, Luo Qingtong's expression didn't change at all. She had long been accustomed to the feeling of being the center of attention. In her previous life, wherever she went, there would be a frenzy of people chasing after her. The bottle of medicinal liquid in Luo Qingtong's hand was the xuanhuan heart liquid that she had previously refined. Master Lu thought that Luo Qingtong had successfully refined that one bottle, but he didn't know that she had a lot of this medicinal liquid in her hands. After all, as long as you dilute one bottle, you can get dozens of bottles. Luo Qingtong didn't lack medicinal liquid in her hands, so after that bottle of medicinal liquid was replaced, she simply threw it away. How do you feel? She looked at the tall and strong man beside her. It still hurts. The blockhead scratches his head with a simple and honest face, but it's much better than before. Before I thought I was going to die. As he spoke, he smiled foolishly. But he didn't know that he didn't think he was going to die, but he really almost died. If it weren't for Luo Qingtong, he would be dead. It's normal to feel pain. After all, your external injuries haven't healed yet. The bottle of xuanhuan heart liquid in Luo Qingtong's hand can only heal his internal injuries. That is his fatal wound. As for the external injuries, Luo Qingtong has temporarily stopped the bleeding. Others saw that the huge wound on his abdomen is no longer bleeding, but Luo Qingtong used her eye technique to seal all the blood vessels around the wound. There won't be excessive bleeding, so naturally there won't be any danger to his life. After going down, he just needs to recuperate. Now, can you announce that he won? Luo Qingtong looks down at the completely stunned referee below and raises her eyebrows. Yes. That referee comes back to his senses and rushes to the stage to carefully examine the tall and strong man's body. He finds that although his injuries are still very serious, his life is no longer in danger. He immediately announces in a trembling voice. Arena number 9, Battle 132, Chu Lingfeng wins. Hua. Along with his voice, the silence of the entire arena was broken. Everyone stood up with a swoosh, and the gazes they looked at Arena number 9 were filled with disbelief. That blockhead who was bound to die really didn't die? He survived? It wasn't their illusion? Everyone looks at Luo Qingtong with burning eyes, and then desperately yells to bid, wanting to buy the medicinal liquid in her hand. He had even forgotten about losing the bet. In the hysterical shouting and bidding, Luo Qingtong looks at the bloody arena's upper echelon's attention, and the corner of the bloody arena's attention. From then on, the name of evil Dr. Ghost Eye resounded throughout the entire Black Region sub-city. As for the Black Region auction house, after Luo Qingtong left, Master Lu pretended to be in seclusion and entered the extreme state in order to prevent further complications. Then he excitedly brought the bottle of xuanhuan heart liquid and went to see Yi Qianren. This is a medicinal liquid that this subordinate has occasionally refined. It's a blessing. When this subordinate was refining the medicinal liquid, he inexplicably entered the extreme state and refined this bottle of quasi-heaven stage medicinal liquid. Lord, please take a look. This bottle of medicinal liquid is mainly used to treat meridian injuries. Master Lu can't hide his excitement. He purposely emphasized his last sentence. Quasi-heaven stage medicinal liquid? On the main seat in the lobby, Yi Qianxian's dark golden mask flashes past the porcelain bottle in his hand. Bei Qing steps forward, takes it in her hand, and presents it to Yi Qianxian. Master. Yi Qianxian raises his hand to take the bottle of medicinal liquid. Just as he opens it, his eyebrows suddenly twitches. Chapter 93. Does this mean that you were the one who made this medicine? He looked at the man below. Yes. Master Lu tried his best to suppress the excitement on his face. Yes, I was the one who made it. Who gave you the formula? Yi Qianxian leaned back and tapped his right hand lightly on the armrest. Under the dark gold mask, the man's expression was unreadable. Luo Qingtong's formula was derived from his healing medicine. How could Yi Qianxian not recognize it? Although Luo Qingtong had improved the formula and only used half of the original formula, Yi Qianxian had used too much of it. Yi Qianxian had been using the healing medicine for too long. The smell of the medicine had been engraved into his bones. The smell of the medicine was so familiar that he could not help but suspect that it had something to do with that woman. The image of Luo Qingtong's flowery face appeared in his mind. She gave off an unusually cunning and evil aura. Yi Qianxian narrowed his eyes slightly. If it was that woman, she could have known the formula of his healing medicine with just one look. It was not impossible for her to have only used a portion of it to make the medicine. Yi Qianxian thought about all the strange things that Luo Qingtong had done in the Nine Magi Mountains. So that woman could not only be a weapon refiner, a spiritual array master, but also an alchemist? How many abilities did she have? My lord? Master Lu was stunned by his words. Why would the lord suddenly ask about this? Could it be that the lord had seen through his action of changing the medicine? No. Impossible. How could the lord know about such a small matter? Master Lu tried his best to maintain his composure. His voice trembled as he spoke. My lord, I do not know what you mean. This medicine was made by me. The formula was also. You can't make this medicine. Yi Qianxian interrupted him. The formula could not have been made by you. There is no need to hide it. Who gave it to you? Tell me. Yi Qianxian did not know that Master Lu had changed the medicine, but he was sure that the medicine was not made by him. Because the formula of the healing medicine was not something that could be made by an ordinary person. Even if it could be made, the other party would not be able to make it. Extreme state? If the other party had really entered the extreme state, then he should know that there was an upper limit to the extreme state. Even if he entered the extreme state, it was impossible for him to make this medicine. Only a heavenly alchemist had a chance. Furthermore, it was only a slight possibility. My lord. Under Yi Qianxian's gaze, Master Lu broke out in cold sweat. He could see that Ming Zun did not know that he had changed the medicine, but he mistakenly thought that the prescription was given to him by someone else. Although he didn't know why the Great Lord was so certain, it was obvious that he was looking for the owner of the formula. But this medicine Master Lu's that it medicine. How could he dare to speak the truth? Could it be that he was going to tell the Lord that the person he was looking for had been forced away by him? Moreover, I have a grudge against him, so please don't go looking for him. How could this be? Master Lu's forehead was dripping with sweat. No matter what, he could not admit to this matter. He had to think of a way to smooth things over. Otherwise, if the Lord were to find that black-robed man, he would definitely be in deep trouble. At this time, Master Lu was extremely regretful. If he had known that Master Yao would be able to see through it at a glance and knew that it was not refined by him, why would he change the medicine? If he introduced the black-robed man to the Lord, he would also be rewarded handsomely. As he thought about it, he felt a wave of regret. Just as he was trying his best to find an excuse to get away with it, a sharp pain suddenly came from his hand. Chapter 94. This stinging pain came so suddenly, but it came with such ferocity. Master Lu suddenly screamed in pain. How dare you? Bei Qing scolded him coldly. Master, what is this? He looked at Master Lu's hands in shock. Master Lu's hands were perfectly fine just a moment ago, but now they had turned into a greenish-black color. It was a color that could only be seen after the flesh and blood had rotted away. Not only that, but a pungent smell of rot was emitted from Master Lu's hands. The stench was so strong that Bei Qing took a step back. She watched in horror as Master Lu's hands rapidly rotted and deteriorated. His hands were covered with pus and blood and dark black rotten flesh. As Master Lu convulsed violently in pain, pieces of flesh fell to the ground. The black pieces of flesh fell to the ground, emitting a strong stench. How could a person's hands become like this in an instant? Bei Qing was stunned, but Feng Yu, who was next to her, reacted quickly. You didn't refine this medicinal liquid yourself at all, right? This is the medicine that was made by someone else. You were greedy and touched something that you shouldn't have. Your hands are rotting. His voice was cold as he stepped forward and pulled Bei Qing over. The poison that corroded his hands was so strong that it almost corroded his hands into a pile of bones. If he was infected by it, who knew what the consequences would be? Master Lu was in so much pain that he couldn't even speak. The 10 fingers were connected to the heart. His 10 fingers were rotting, and the greenish-black color was still spreading up his arms. If this went on, he might end up rotting into a skeleton. Master Lu trembled violently as he thought of this. The black-robed man. It's that black-robed old man. I have to find him. I was wrong. I shouldn't have swapped his medicine. He cried and rushed out. Without needing Feng Yu's reminder, Master Lu immediately thought of Luo Qingtong. He was shocked and frightened when he thought of the words that the other party had said before he left. The other party's poison was so powerful. He didn't even know when he was poisoned. He knew that he had swapped the medicine, but he didn't point it out. This was simply tormenting him. As Master Lu thought about it, he trembled even more. However, he did not dare to delay at all and hurriedly rushed out. He was going to find Luo Qingtong to detoxify him. Seeing him rush out of the door, Yi Chenxian, who was sitting on the main seat, finally moved. A black-robed old man? Not that woman? He looked at Master Lu's pair of terrifying skeletal hands without a trace of emotion, but now because of the other party's words, he frowned. Send someone to follow him. Also, get someone to call the manager of the auction house over. He wanted to know more about the black-robed man. Yes, master. Bei Qing and Feng Yu accepted the order and left. In the bloody arena, Luo Qingtong was respectfully invited to the VIP room at the back, and became a guest of honor here. A group of fiendish-looking managers of the bloody arena were looking at her with a smile, with a kind look on their faces. That appearance, coupled with their fierce-looking faces, was even scarier than their usual ferocious appearances. However, Luo Qingtong did not care at all. It wasn't the first time she had come into contact with such bloodthirsty people. The other party obviously had a request for her. Chapter 95. Sir Evil Doctor. After inviting Luo Qingtong to take a seat, a manager of the bloody arena couldn't help but rub his hands. How many bottles of medicinal liquid do you have in your hands? Before he finished speaking, Luo Qingtong faintly opened her mouth. 10 bottles. Half of it will be distributed by the bloody arena, and the other half will be auctioned off. I'll take 90% of the price. How about the cooperation in the future? As soon as Luo Qingtong's words came out, the managers of the bloody arena were pleasantly surprised. They were just worrying about how to win over this evil Dr. Ghost Eye. The other party took the initiative to propose cooperation. Wasn't this like a sleepy bug meeting a good pillow? Without any hesitation, they agreed in one breath. In the end, for fear that Luo Qingtong would go back on her words, they hurriedly prepared her reward. After all, Luo Qingtong sold them the 5 bottles of medicinal liquid that the bloody arena had allocated themselves, and they also had to pay for it. As for the money that Luo Qingtong had won from the bet, they had already prepared it. Luo Qingtong stopped them and only took the money that she had won from the bet. This money was enough for her to use. As for the rest, she still had things to do for these people in the bloody arena. The 5 bottles of medicinal liquid could be regarded as her down payment. Luo Qingtong didn't forget her purpose in coming to the Blackfield subcity. It was to find the detoxification herbs she needed to cure the poison in her eyes. Originally, it was most reliable to find the auction house for this matter. After all, there were more transactions there, and it was easier to find the herbs that Luo Qingtong needed. But who let the pharmacist on their side be blind and offend Luo Qingtong? Since they had become enemies, Luo Qingtong naturally couldn't go to the other side to find and buy herbs. Naturally, the gory arena was the one to blame for this. Fortunately, they also belonged to the Blackfield subcity, and their status and weight were no less than the auction house. What the latter could get, they could also find a way to get. This was the real reason why Luo Qingtong cooperated with them. As long as it was a force from the Blackfield, there was a need for cooperation. After all, Luo Qingtong didn't have that much time to find the antidote. I need these herbs. You guys think of a way to prepare them for me? If you need anything in the future you can come to me. Luo Qingtong gave them the list of medicinal herbs. There were hundreds of medicinal herbs listed on it. The antidote that Luo Qingtong needed was hidden inside. This way no one would be able to easily guess her motive. After winning a lot of money, Luo Qingtong was not short of money at all. Moreover, the people in the bloody arena wouldn't let her lack money. Sure enough, after hearing her words, a group of people from the bloody arena patted their chests and promised that they would help Luo Qingtong prepare all the medicinal herbs on the list as soon as possible. As for money, it didn't matter. If Lord Ghost Eye were to casually concoct 2 bottles of medicine for them, it would be more than enough to cover the cost of the medicine. These people in charge of the bloody arena didn't lack money. On the contrary, the medicine that Luo Qingtong concocted couldn't be bought with money. They knew better than anyone how to settle this account. Luo Qingtong smiled and nodded. She got up and prepared to leave the VIP room. Just then a person suddenly rushed in from outside. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye. Who is Evil Dr. Ghost Eye? Impudent. Who are you? How dare you call Lord Evil Doctor by her name? These people in the bloody arena didn't know Luo Qingtong's real name. They thought that Evil Doctor was Luo Qingtong's name and Ghost Eye was Luo Qingtong's name. Seeing this person barge into the bloody arena's VIP room and call Luo Qingtong by her name, they were furious. Chapter 96. Impudent. How dare you touch me? The man's expression was very anxious. Seeing that the people from the bloody arena were chasing him away, he immediately took out something from his arms and held it up in front of him. Black Field Token. Seeing that black iron level token, the people from the bloody arena immediately stopped. People who had a black field token were guests in the black field. Unless they did something extremely excessive and violated the rules of the black field, all the cities in the black field had to treat them with the appropriate courtesy. Although the other party took out the lowest level black field token and had limited authority, the people from the bloody arena still couldn't be too presumptuous with him. Who are you? Even if you have a black field token, you can't barge into my bloody arena without any scruples. Now please leave immediately. Otherwise after 3 warnings I can still throw you out. The people from the bloody arena lost face in front of Luo Qingtong and looked at the man who barged in with unkind expressions. Damn it. If the other party didn't have a black field token, they would have thrown him out long ago. Lord Evil Doctor, I'm sorry. One of the people in charge of the bloody arena transmitted his voice to Luo Qingtong. You've been frightened. After a while, we'll also apply for a black field token for you. It's guaranteed to be higher level than his black iron level token. When you appear in all the cities in the black field, you won't be harassed by these rascals. With Luo Qingtong's identity as the Evil Doctor, it was enough for the higher-ups to issue a black field token. When the time came they just had to work a little and get a silver token. It would also save them the trouble of always having people act presumptuously in front of them and not being able to do anything to them. Wasn't this making things difficult for Lord Evil Doctor? Having already cooperated with Luo Qingtong, the people in charge of the bloody arena had long regarded her as one of their own. At this moment, seeing her being harassed by someone with an iron-grade black field token, and being unable to do anything about it, they were extremely displeased. Yes, it's fine. Luo Qingtong nodded indifferently at the bloody arena's manager. The opportunity to obtain the black field token was naturally good. Not to mention the black field order, which was of a higher grade. Speaking of which, she had to thank the person who had barged in. Luo Qingtong thought as she raised her head to look at the other party. When she saw it she immediately laughed. Not for anything else, but because the person who had barged in was none other than Xuanhuan, her good fiancé. Luo Qingtong looked at Xuanhuan playfully. Upon closer inspection, the other party was indeed a rare handsome man. His face was cold, handsome and resolute. He possessed both the noble aura of an imperial family and the piercingly cold aura of a genius expert. However, she had already seen Yi Qianxian, a one-of-a-kind person in the world. Looking at Xuanhuan again, Luo Qingtong could only describe him with one word: passable. Of course, in this world there were many people who couldn't even reach the standard of these 2 words. Xuanhuan's expression was very anxious. His gaze swept over the bloody arena's higher-ups, and finally fixed on Luo Qingtong, who didn't look like someone from the bloody arena. Especially when he saw the Rakshasa mask on her face, he immediately confirmed her identity in his heart. You're the Evil Dr. Ghost Eye? Come with me to save my junior sister. We're disciples of the Holy Court of the Empire of Qin. As long as you save my junior sister, we'll naturally reward you greatly. As he spoke, he thought that Luo Qingtong wouldn't refuse, so he raised his hand to pull her. Chapter 97. I'm sorry, this disciple of the Empire of Qin's holy court. Luo Qingtong's red lips softly spit out. There are 3 things I won't save. First, I won't save people I'm not happy with. Second, I won't save people who deserve to die. Third, I won't save people who can't be cured by me. So, you should ask someone else. Help him save his junior sister? Did you one more really think that she, evil Dr. Ghost Eye, was some random cat or dog on the roadside that he could summon and dismiss at will? Don't say that I have a good impression of him. Even if he was a stranger who didn't feel anything, Luo Qingtong wouldn't make a move because of his rude actions just now. The other party didn't respect her as a pharmacist at all. Indeed, Yuanma heard that there was an evil Dr. Ghost Eye here who could bring the dead back to life, so he directly came over. He actually didn't believe that Luo Qingtong's medical skills were that good. He had never heard of the name evil Dr. Ghost Eye before. Not to mention bringing the dead back to life. He even said that the backlash from using the forbidden technique was cured in an instant. Not only that, the injuries in his body were all healed. Yuanma simply scoffed. It was just a gimmick from the bloody battle arena. To fool those ignorant cultivators. Even their holy court's pharmacist teacher couldn't refine this kind of medicinal liquid. How could there be such a powerful person in this small Blackfield branch city? He just thought that the other party was a pharmacist and might be of some use, so he came to find her. He didn't expect that the other party didn't know how to appreciate favors. Did he feel that he didn't offer a price and was afraid that he would suffer a loss? He heard that he had won a lot of money before. Could it be that he was insatiably greedy and wanted more? Yuanma felt disgust in his heart. He looked up at Luo Qingtong and said coldly, "Do you think the price isn't enough? How much did you pay for the person you saved just now? I'll pay 10 times the price." Yuanma didn't want to waste words with Luo Qingtong. His junior sister had just used a secret technique on the stage and injured her meridians. He didn't know if it would affect her cultivation in the future. The other party had snuck out to find him. If teacher were to find out that little junior sister was injured because she snuck out to look for him, and that it might affect her future cultivation advancement, it was inevitable that teacher would vent his anger on him. Therefore Yuanma came to find Luo Qingtong, the evil Dr. Ghost Eye, with a glimmer of hope. He hoped that she would have some real ability to stabilize his junior sister's injuries. When he returned to the holy court, there would naturally be people who would help him treat him. 10 times, that's a lot. Luo Qingtong's voice dragged out, low and hoarse. Just when Yuanma thought that she was moved and felt contempt in his heart, he suddenly heard her tone change. She sneered and said, "Unfortunately, I don't like you." 10 times? She didn't care even if the price was 100 or 1,000 times higher. What's more, she had saved that blockhead because she wanted to. She didn't even take a single cent. But Yuanma wanted to ask her for help? Sorry. She wasn't willing. Luo Qingtong walked past Yuanma and headed outside. At this time, the other new students of the Holy Court of the Empire of Qin also arrived. "Senior brother, don't talk to this kind of person. I think it's not that he doesn't want to save her. It's that he doesn't dare to save her." "That's right, senior brother. I think he's just a swindler. Let's not talk nonsense with him. We should hurry and find that Earth Stage alchemist Grandmaster Lu from the auction house. As long as he's willing to help, junior sister will be fine." The new students of the Holy Court were very angry at Luo Qingtong for treating Yuanma so slowly. They pulled him and were about to leave. "That's right. Yuanma disdained to ask this kind of person for help. Let's go," Yuanma said coldly. The group of people said this and were about to leave. Chapter 98. Master. Master, save me. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Waves of mournful cries came from afar. In the arena, the crowd parted at the entrance like a tide. It was so fast that it was as if something terrifying had rushed in from outside the door. One had to know that those who entered the arena to vent their anger were mostly violent and tyrannical people who had seen life and death and blood. Usually they wouldn't even blink when they saw someone with broken limbs. But this time they scattered as if they had seen a ghost. Yuanma and his group just happened to walk out of the VIP lounge and saw the crowd parting in the arena. They immediately looked over curiously. When they saw it, they vomited. Some of the freshmen with weaker psychological endurance vomited on the spot. The others' faces also turned pale. They saw a person rushing out from the middle of the passageway where the crowd had parted. No, it couldn't even be called a person. It would be more appropriate to describe it as a rotting corpse. The flesh on the man's body was rotten into chunks. As he rushed forward, the chunks of flesh kept falling down, mixed with a yellow and white mucus. It looked like a rotting corpse that could move. What was even more terrifying was that half of his face was rotten. As he ran and screamed, the rotting flesh on his mouth fell down bit by bit, revealing the eerie white bones within. As he moved, an unbearable stench quickly spread out. Such a horrifying scene was not common even in nightmares, let alone in reality. "Master, save me. I beg you to spare me. I won't dare to do it again. I won't dare to do it again." That disgusting rotting corpse ran in front of Luo Qingtong and knelt down, kowtowing with all his might. "I won't dare to do it again. I won't dare to do it again. I didn't recognize Mao Tai and didn't know how powerful you are. Master, spare me. Spare me." Master Lu cried and screamed as he desperately begged for mercy. His whole body was rotten to the extreme and it was still deteriorating. He had a feeling that if this continued, the surface of his body would completely rot, and it would be his internal organs' turn. At that time, even the golden immortal wouldn't be able to save him. The poison was acting up too violently. He had no time to react at all. Even after eating several antidote pills, there was no effect. What's more, even the medicinal pill that he bought at a high price that could cure 100 poisons refined by a heavenly alchemist had no effect. Instead, it was getting worse and worse. If he hadn't heard that the evil Dr. Ghost Eye had appeared in the bloody arena and was most likely the black-robed old man, he would have committed suicide in despair. "Master, please be merciful. Please be merciful." He kowtowed desperately. Pieces of rotten flesh fell from his body and face as he moved. Many people couldn't help but avert their eyes in disgust. At this moment, someone from the freshmen of the Saint Academy who were with Yuan Mo couldn't help but say, "You evil doctor are too vicious. What did he do that made you want to torture him like this?" There was no mercy in his heart at all. "Really?" Luo Qingtong smiled. She wasn't in a hurry to leave. She sat down on a chair next to her and raised her head to look at the rotting corpse kneeling at her feet. "In that case, Master Lu, why don't you tell them what you did to become like this?" When Luo Qingtong said this, everyone was shocked. Chapter 99. Everyone looked at the disgusting person kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy in shock. They couldn't connect this person with the arrogant and aloof Master Lu in the auction house. How could this be? This was actually Master Lu. But with Luo Qingtong's words, everyone could vaguely see some of Master Lu's silhouette from the remaining intact face. Could this really be Master Lu? While everyone was still in shock, the new students of the sacred institution instantly retorted angrily. "You're talking nonsense. Master Lu is an Earth stage alchemist. How could he become like this? You evil doctor are really disgusting. You actually use such words to humiliate people. I think you're afraid that we'll go find Master Lu, deliberately playing these tricks to disgust people." Those new students of the sacred institution just said this when they were interrupted by a voice from the side. "This really is Master Lu. Look, he's even wearing an Earth stage alchemist robe. And there's also that badge on his chest. It really is Master Lu." Because that rotten corpse was too disgusting. No one paid attention to what the bloody black clothes on his body looked like. Now that they heard that person say this, many people immediately looked towards that rotting corpse. Sure enough, they saw the emblem that symbolized an Earth-rank alchemist and that alchemist robe. This really was Master Lu. Everyone was shocked, and those new students of the sacred institution who kept criticizing Luo Qingtong looked like they swallowed a fly, their faces alternating between green and white. At this moment, Master Lu's voice also sounded. "Master, I was wrong. I don't dare to switch your medicinal liquid again. Everything is because of my greed. I deserve to die. Please spare me. Spare me." The way he slowly rotted and died was too terrifying. Master Lu simply couldn't care about his dignity as an Earth stage alchemist. His life was gone. What was the use of that false reputation? Once he spoke, those new students of the sacred institution's face became even uglier. They just said that Luo Qingtong treated the other party too viciously, and in the end, Master Lu revealed that it was because he switched Luo Qingtong's medicinal liquid that he became like this. Thinking about it, that poison must have been put on the medicinal liquid by Luo Qingtong. Whoever touched her medicine would end up like this. Master Lu had only himself to blame. Luo Qingtong didn't even make a move. But you can't use such a vicious poison. A new student of the Sacred Institute wanted to defend himself and the others, but he was scolded by the surrounding crowd. Can you students of the Sacred Institute be reasonable? The poison was smeared on the medicine bottle. If Master Lu had not been so greedy, he would have been fine. No matter how vicious this poison was, it couldn't hurt him. Who asked him to be so dirty? Exactly. Some people who supported Luo Qingtong scolded, "You're talking as if you won't beat a thief to death when you catch him. Your hands must be stained with blood, right? You're still pretending to be a saint. It's not disgusting." These freshmen of the Holy Institute had found the wrong place to speak up for Grandmaster Lu. This was the bloody arena. Most of the people here were ruthless people who paid particular attention to revenge. In their eyes, there was nothing wrong with Luo Qingtong's approach. But the words of these students of the Sacred Institute were disgusting. They were kind-hearted. If you're kind-hearted, don't fight back when you meet an opponent who wants to kill you. Here you're so righteous, but in the end you're doing the same thing. Everyone looked at them with disdain. Being looked at like this, the faces of the new students of the Sacred Institute immediately turned red. Yuanma's face was also very ugly. It was not because of the ridicule of the people around, but because Luo Qingtong's medical skills were so amazing. Even Grandmaster Lu was like this because of her. She had really misjudged him before. "Let's go," he said coldly. At this moment, Luo Qingtong opened her mouth. Chapter 100. You're leaving just like that? Luo Qingtong tilted her head slightly. Under the black hood, a ferocious and evil Rakshasa mask appeared. The ferocious Rakshasa on the mask faintly looked at Yuanma and the others with an evil smile. "You just said that I'm vicious and fishing for fame. What? Now that the truth is out, aren't you going to say anything?" Luo Qingtong faintly flicked her sleeves and looked at them. Following her words, the people of the bloody arena also stood up. "That's right. Just now you wantonly slandered Master Evil Doctor. Now you want to leave after scolding her? How can there be such a good thing?" A group of rough men stared at Yuanma and the others with unkind eyes. "What do you want?" Yuanma's complexion was already bad. Now that he was stopped by Luo Qingtong, his expression turned even uglier. Although he asked the people of the bloody arena, his eyes were looking at Luo Qingtong. Everyone knew that the one in charge here was Luo Qingtong. Nothing much. Luo Qingtong looked at him with a faint smile. The ugly expression on the other party's face made her very happy. Wasn't Yuanma very high and mighty before? The genius freshman of the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin really had the right to be proud. If it were someone else, Luo Qingtong might not bicker with them. But Yuanma. Thinking of how Yuan royal family had looked down on Luo Qingtong and the entire Luo family, and how he spoke to them in a condescending tone, Luo Qingtong crossed her arms and tapped her fingers casually. "I just want you to apologize to me in front of everyone." When Luo Qingtong said this, the freshman of the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. It was just an apology. It was nothing. However, the next second, Luo Qingtong's tone suddenly changed. "Kneel down, kowtow, and say sorry 3 times. This evil doctor will forgive you." Looking down on her? Questioning her medical skills? Saying that she was fishing for fame? Luo Qingtong's smile hidden under the Rakshasa mask bloomed like a red spider lily. What a coincidence. She was a very vengeful person. And once she remembered, she would definitely take revenge. Plus the original owner's grudges and old grudges. Luo Qingtong felt that she was being very magnanimous by only asking Yuan Imo and the rest to kowtow and apologize. "You." Hearing her words, the people of the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin were instantly furious. "That's impossible. In your dreams." A freshman of the Holy Academy behind Yuanma said. "Make them kneel down and apologize." What face would they have left then? If this matter were to spread out, it would be so humiliating. This evil doctor. So you're saying that you're not going to apologize? Luo Qingtong looked at them with empty eyes. Behind her, a group of people from the bloody arena sneered and took a step forward. Fine. Then let's replace it with physical pain. The people of the bloody arena clenched their fists so tightly that creaking sounds could be heard. His imposing manner caused the faces of all the freshmen of the Holy Institute to turn pale. You dare. We're students of the Sacred Academy. The new student suddenly lowered his voice when he said this. It turned out that he suddenly remembered that they were freshmen of the Holy Academy, but the bloody arena was from the Black Field. The Black Field wasn't even afraid of the four great sacred dynasties, so why would they care about the Holy Academy of the Empire of Qin? Chapter 101. Sure enough, as soon as he said that, the people from the bloody arena and the bystanders all laughed. The Holy Institute of the Empire of Qin, we are so scared. The people from the bloody arena were full of hostility. Suddenly their faces turned serious and they said coldly, then you can try. We will break your legs here. Let's see if the people from the Holy Institute of the Empire of Qin dare to come and find trouble with our Lord Mingzun. The Black Field had its own rules. As members of the bloody arena, they couldn't casually attack the students from the Holy Institute of the Empire of Qin. But it was different if it was Lord Mingzun's request, because it was a deal. Moreover, the people from the Holy Institute of the Empire of Qin had insulted Lord Mingzun, so it was reasonable for them to attack. As for the iron-level Blackfield token, it was the people from the Holy Institute of the Empire of Qin who broke the rules first. Moreover, the lowest-level Blackfield token didn't give them the right to ignore or cancel the rules of the Blackfield. If they caused trouble in the Blackfield, as long as they didn't kill Xuanhuan and the others, the Holy Institute of the Empire of Qin wouldn't dare to find trouble with them. It was because of this that the people from the bloody arena were so determined to stand up for Luo Qingtong. Lord Mingzun would take care of everything. What were they afraid of? In fact, they hoped that none of the new students from the Holy Institute of the Empire of Qin would compromise. That way they would have a chance to teach them a lesson and curry favor with Lord Mingzun. With Lord Mingzun's medical skills, he could casually make some medicine and pills, which would be enough for them to benefit immensely. Hearing the two words Lord Mingzun, the new students from the Holy Institute of the Empire of Qin instantly withered. Especially when they thought that Lord Mingzun was in this subcity of the Black Field, they panicked even more. If Lord Mingzun was alarmed, they might be in an even more miserable state. Who knew what the Black Field would do to win over this evil doctor? They could only blame themselves for being blind and offending this demonic doctor. At this time, the faces of the freshmen who had previously been extremely disdainful of Luo Qingtong and felt that she was a swindler, were burning with shame and humiliation. Senior brother? They looked at Xuanhuan. The latter's expression was not much better than theirs. In fact, it was even uglier. But in the face of power, they had no choice but to bow their heads. Xuanmo clenched his fists. His heart was filled with shame and anger because of the humiliation he felt. He gritted his teeth and looked at Luo Qingtong. In the end, he had no choice but to lower his head. Boom. He knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times to Luo Qingtong. This is all because of me. I failed to recognize Mao Tai and underestimated Lord Evil Doctor. My junior brothers and sisters were implicated because of me. Lord Evil Doctor, please, don't take it to heart. Every word Xuanhuan said was extremely difficult. As the god's favored son of the Empire of Tianyu, he was admitted to the Saint Academy of the Empire of Qin and became a heaven-grade freshman. He had never been humiliated like this before. The eyes of the surrounding people pierced him like thorns, making him feel extremely humiliated. Xuanhuan lowered his head, unwilling to let her see the shame and indignation in his eyes. Very good. Not bad. Luo Qingtong glanced at him lightly. This Xuanhuan was indeed a character. To be able to endure such a humiliating situation and resolve it, Li Tianming had no choice but to do so. Looking at the touched faces of the surrounding freshmen, Luo Qingtong smiled playfully. Interesting. At this time, if she continued to be aggressive, she would be helping Xuanhuan's good reputation. She was not that kind. Okay. The girl waved her hand. You can go. His nonchalant attitude made Xuanmo feel even more aggrieved. He didn't say a word and directly left with the people of the Saint Academy of the Empire of Qin. Of course, his injured junior sister was also included. Looking at his angry back and the blue veins on his forehead, Luo Qingtong was in a very good mood. Chapter 102. After leaving the bloody arena, Xuanhuan and the others went straight to where their airship was parked. Their airship didn't have a Sumeru subspace like Yi Qianxian's. They could only park it in the Black Field's airship parking area. After boarding the airship, Xuanhuan didn't say a word. He sat in his seat with a gloomy face. The others didn't even dare to say a word. Everyone could see that he was in a bad mood. At this moment, a letter suddenly flew in from afar like a flying feather and a ray of light. It was the emergency contact he left in the Tianyu Empire. It could send him a message from thousands of miles away. Seeing the light of the letter, Xuanmo raised his hand and caught it. When he finished reading the contents of the letter, his already ugly expression darkened even more. Pa. He crushed the letter in his hand and wrote a few lines in the air. Then he suddenly waved his hand. The light of the message immediately shot off into the distance. After doing all this, he suddenly raised his hand and slammed it heavily on the tea table in front of him, directly smashing the tea table into pieces. Break off the engagement? In your dreams? Xuanhuan's face was extremely angry. The Luo family wanted to break off the engagement? That was impossible. Luo Qingtong was destined to be his woman in life and his ghost in death. The engagement couldn't be broken off. Xuanhuan didn't care what Yuanxue did to Luo Qingtong. He only knew that the Luo family didn't have the right to disobey him. If he wanted to marry Luo Qingtong, the Luo family could only obey him. If they didn't, he didn't mind destroying the Luo family and taking Luo Qingtong back to the Tianyu Empire by force. Anyway, he just needed her to be a decoration. As for whether Luo Qingtong and the Luo family were willing or not, it was not within his consideration. It was just a marquee mansion in a low-level country. What right did they have to refuse him? Xuanhuan's face was cold. If it weren't for, he wouldn't even look at Luo Qingtong. Just as Yuanxue said, she didn't deserve him. Shua. The light of the letter flew towards the Tianyu Empire. After flying for a while, it fell into the emperor's hand. How is it? What did Emperor say? Empress Tianyu asked anxiously. Beside her, Yuanxue also sat up straight and looked towards her imperial father. Emo, or won't. Also, tell the Luo family to behave themselves and wait for Luo Qingtong to marry him when she is 16. Emperor Tianyu said as he crushed the letter. What? Empress and Yuanxue couldn't believe it. It's already like this and Emo still isn't going to break off the engagement? Empress Tianyu was furious. Yuanxue almost tore her clothes. Has imperial brother gone mad? It's already. He wants to continue the engagement. Aren't we just waiting for others to laugh at our royal family? She stomped her feet anxiously. You still have the nerve to say that. It's all because of you. Emperor Tianyu glared at her. Who told you to make a move on Luo Qingtong? Your brother must have a reason to marry her. You and your mother are the only ones who are causing trouble. I'm not causing trouble. I'm doing it for my brother's sake. That's such a good opportunity. If my brother agrees, he'll have a meteoric rise and our Tianyu imperial family will rise. What did I do wrong? Besides, didn't father and mother both tacitly agree to this? Yuanxue stomped her feet, looking aggrieved. Chapter 103. Shut up. Emperor Tianyu coldly shouted. If your royal brother doesn't agree, then it's useless. Enough. It's a foregone conclusion and your royal brother won't change his mind. You're not allowed to provoke Luo Qingtong in the future. Emperor Tianyu indifferently said as he stood up. He did acquiesce after discovering Yuanxue's actions. But now that there was no chance of that happening, he could only accept Luo Qingtong as his daughter-in-law. As for what Yuanxue did, he would naturally cover it up. With the power of Tianyu Empire, it's easy to erase the influence of Yuanxue's actions. Luo family better behave. Otherwise he wouldn't mind uprooting their entire family. In any case, Mo only wanted Luo Qingtong as a decoration. Alright, you guys can go and comfort grandfather Luo. Tell him not to have any other thoughts. Luo Qingtong is destined to be a member of our Tianyu Empire. Just based on their Luo family, they want to break off the engagement. In their dreams. Emperor Tianyu's heart was unsettled. He didn't show it on his face, but his words were very impolite. As for what Schwerer did, it was just playing around. Give him something to comfort him, that's all. In a bad mood, Emperor Tianyu didn't even have the mood to see grandfather Luo. If Yuanma agreed to break off the engagement, he would naturally be willing to see grandfather Luo. But now Yuanma refused. Grandfather Luo coming to break off the engagement was a slap in the face. A weak marquis mansion from an inferior country. How dare he come to their door and break off the engagement? Emperor Tianyu's heart was very uncomfortable and he directly flicked his sleeves to leave. Behind him, Yuanxue stomped her feet. Mother. Look at royal father, he. Enough, this is your royal brother's decision, your royal father can't do anything about it. Someone summon grandfather Luo. Empress Tianyu was also very unhappy, but she knew that if Yuanma didn't agree, no one could force him. Half of Tianyu Empire's power was supported by Yuanma. If he didn't agree, no matter how unhappy they were, they couldn't break off the engagement. What a pity, Luo Qingtong took such a good position. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have proposed this marriage to the Luo clan. The more she thought about it, the uglier her expression became. When he faced old Master Luo, he did not have a pleasant expression on his face. With their status in the Qianyu Empire, it was already a blessing for them to marry a girl from a small family like Luo Qingtong. So what if he was dissatisfied? He was just a country-guarding marquis from a small family. Did he expect her, the Empress of Qianyu, to smile at him? At this time, Qianyu Empress had completely forgotten that it was Yu Wenxue who made a move on Luo Qingtong first, so grandfather Luo came to cancel the engagement. Of course, even if she hadn't forgotten, she probably wouldn't have cared. In her eyes, the royal family of Qianyu could do whatever they wanted to the Luo family and Luo Qingtong, but it was wrong for the other party to break off the engagement. It was a slap to the face of Qianyu's royal family. Old Master Luo, has sent a message back. The royal family of Qianyu will not withdraw from this marriage. Your Luo clan should stop having other thoughts. Tell Luo Qingtong to get ready. When she turns 16, people from Qianyu will go pick her up. As for Xue, it's just a child's play. It's a bit overboard, but it's not a big deal. The Empress of Qianyu sat high up on the high chair and said, "But we've frightened your Luo clan. Here's a gift list, consider it our apology to the Luo clan. Let's drop this matter. Don't mention the cancellation of the engagement again." Chapter 104. Elder Luo thought the annulment would go smoothly. After all, Qianyu's royal family couldn't deny what Yu Wenxue had done. He didn't expect them to be so shameless. When the Empress of Qianyu spoke, he thought he'd heard wrong. Children's play? No big deal. Bribing the second concubine's daughter to harm the first wife's daughter, crippling her cultivation, blinding her eyes, and throwing her to a group of men to rape. When she was lucky enough to escape, they even sent men to kill her. Was this a game between children? Was this not a big deal? Did Qianyu's royal family take him for a fool? And an apology? Elder Luo looked at the list of gifts in front of him and gritted his teeth so hard they were about to shatter. Qingtong almost lost her life after being wronged like that. Qianyu's royal family sent him away with a gift list. They refused to annul the engagement and didn't even punish Yu Wenxue. What did they take the Luo family for? What did they take Qingtong for? And Luo Qingtong was blind. Elder Luo knew she was fine and could still see with her eye talent. But Qianyu's royal family didn't know. Yet the Empress of Qianyu didn't mention it at all. It was as if Luo Qingtong's blindness wasn't a big deal. Instead, she said it was a child's play and it was harmless. Elder Luo felt that if he accepted the gift list today, he wouldn't have the face to see Luo Qingtong and his ancestors. Bang! Old Master Luo was so angry that he stood up and knocked over the gift box in front of him. That's impossible. Qianyu's royal family did such a thing. I won't marry Qingtong off again. I must annul this engagement. How dare you? The Empress of Qianyu's expression darkened when she saw her gift box being knocked over. She was already unhappy. It was already polite enough for her to suppress her temper and talk to Elder Luo. She didn't expect him to be so unappreciative. How could the Luo family cancel the engagement of the Qianyu royal family as they wished? Bang! She slammed her hand on the armrest and looked at Elder Luo coldly. Who do you think your Luo family is? If didn't insist on annulling the engagement, do you think I would care about a small Luo family? What part of that Luo Qingtong is worthy of my son? Let me tell you, you have to agree to this engagement. Even if you don't want to. In front of our Qianyu Empire, you have no right to refuse. *CK your mother's bullshit. Old Master Luo was completely enraged. That's all I have to say. Qianyu's royal family's royal family. Dream. Regardless of whether you agree or not, our Luo clan will definitely annul this marriage. He then left in a rage. He left. Even if he had to risk his life, he would not let Luo Qingtong marry into Qianyu's royal family. Bang! Seeing Elder Luo Empress, Empress of. At this time Yu Wenxue came out from behind the screen. Imperial Mother, this Elder Luo is so arrogant. You're letting him go just like that? She pouted. Enough, don't add fuel to the fire, Empress of Qianyu said with a displeased expression. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. This Elder Luo is our royal family's in-law. Your royal brother is a new student who just entered the sky grade. You can't go too far. Otherwise you'll ruin his reputation. Otherwise, why would she swallow this anger? You're tuning in to the Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.